Hello, I'm JD, also known as Pretty Princess 5. I'm going to be doing a story cover. It's my story. It's called Disharmony, and the first chapter is called Elements of Friendship. It's all about Discord and Celestia's relationship in the past before he was cast into stone. So this is a prologue. Discord wasn't all that mischievous. In fact, him and Celestia had a close bond. Their childhood involved playing games with each other and learning. Whilst in the teenage years, they began a closer relationship. But when Celestia had told her parents her undying love for Discord, they disapproved and kept her away and forced them apart. Out of outrage, Discord became chaotic for his actions. Celestia couldn't understand why the alicorn she loved turned of the kingdom's back. The war began. Okay, here's the very first chapter. I really hope you enjoy it. Discord sat beside Princess Celestia as she rose the sun. He would wake up early every single morning to watch her raise the sun as he did since they met. They would play outside in the palace courts and watch as the moon shined on the grounds of Canterlot. They had been close friends for a very long time. When they met at a blossom tree in the middle of spring one dawn. He saw the sun slowly levitate to the sky, creating a distant orange glow in the atmosphere. He hid behind a rose bush in a trance. Celestia turned and spotted the odd-looking creature lurking in the roses. She smiled sweetly. "You don't have to hide from me." Discord slowly lifted from his position and ruffled his mane with red cheeks. He stuttered on his words. I'm sorry if I startled you. I couldn't help but watch you as you lifted the sun. It's beautiful." He sat beside the young filly and they started conversing. "I'm Princess Celestia. May I ask your name?" Discord's eyes glinted. "You're Princess Celestia? Oh my, what an honor to meet you. I'm Discord." They both smiled and watched the sun as the morning approached. When morning finally came, Celestia stood up and tilted her head, smiling. "I have to go back to the palace. Shall we meet her again? I'm lowering the sun. It would be nice to see you there." Discord replied gently. "It would be a pleasure. I'll be there." Celestia trotted off, leaving a blushing alicorn behind her. When Celestia returned home, she awaited in the towers, watching Equestria shine with beauty. Her father appeared behind her. "You did a wonderful job, my dear," he said as he wrapped his wings around her. She lifted her head up to look at her father before replying, "It's beautiful, because of friendship," she giggled. The king was surprised. "Oh, who may your friend be?" he questioned. "His name's Discord. He watched it as I lifted the sun in the air." Her father looked at her in disappointment. "What have I told you about talking to strangers? You play an important role for the lands of Equestria. If something were to happen, these lands wouldn't be able to exist," he shouted. The princess bowed her head in sorrow with a sad expression on her face. "Okay," she whimpered. That day, Celestia approached her mother. "Mother, why am I not allowed to make friends?" Her mother turned her head to see a sad filly. "Oh dear, you can make friends. You need to stay safe for the sake of Equestria." She turned back to what she was doing. Celestia looked up at her. "Then why does father get so angry?" Her mother turned around once again. "He is protective. You are the only one who has the power to raise the sun. He only wants the best for you. He is not doing it out of meanness." At 7 o'clock in the evening, she went back to the blossom tree to let the sun rest for the night. She looked around, but couldn't see Discord. "He didn't show up," she sighed. Before setting the sun, a lion's paw rested on her shoulder. She looked up to see the smile of Discord. Her eyes lit up. "You thought I wouldn't show up, didn't you?" He smiled and sat beside her like they did that morning. The sun then was setting due to the magic of Celestia's horn. "I told my parents I met a new friend today." She looked down at the ground with tears in her eyes. Discord lifted her head and turned it towards him. He wiped her tears and looked at her with a confused look on his face. "Why cry? That's a good thing, right?" She looked at him in a daze. "I thought that too, but father shouted at me. He told me I need to be careful and that I shouldn't talk to strangers." She sighed. Discord looked longingly into her eyes and wrapped his arms around her. "Well, you're safe with me, and I'm not no stranger no more. I'm your friend." Friends forever. Over the past several months, Discord and Celestia would meet up every dawn and every evening to watch the sun lift and set. One day, Celestia turned to Discord. "Would you like to play at the palace?" Discord looked at her. "Would your parents be okay with that?" Celestia paused for a few moments before answering. "They are away on duty for a few days, so it's fine." They both stood up and walked to the palace. They played tag and sat on the tree swing next to the Harmony Pond within the courts. Discord looked at his reflection in the water. He put his paw on his face and traced the features. "I look funny, don't I?" Celestia perked up. "No, you look perfect, don't be silly." She smiled. Discord turned slightly to the perfect mare in front of him. "Oh, don't be silly. Look at me. Compared to you, I'm far from perfect." She blushed ever so elegantly. Her coat was pale and her hair cotton candy pink. Her eyes were a light purple, but her blushing made her cheeks so rosy and look so warm. She was perfect in the eyes of Discord. "Well, you think that, but I personally think you're perfect," she giggled. It was coming up to sunset time, so they went to the blossom tree and repeated the process of setting the sun and talking to one another for hours, till it was time for Celestia to rest her weary head. "Discord?" she questioned. Discord looked at her and replied, "Yes, what do you want?" he said calmly. She rested her head on his shoulder and said quietly, "We are best friends forever, aren't we?" Before he could answer, she fell asleep, and they sat till the morning came. I hope you like this. It was a nice thing to do. I hope you're ready for the next chapter. It shall be done soon. Okay, bye.